This story comes highly requested. Guys, I used to do story time many years ago here on my channel, and I haven't done one in a couple of years. But every single time I see one of you guys on the streets of Sosua, you always request a story. So here goes. This one is a true story that happened right here in Sosua, and it happens often. And we're going to talk about a couple of the stories right here. And I know you guys are going to find them interesting. As we talk, we're going to look at this street right here. This is Pedro Clisante. I'm sitting outside a bar right there. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking some video so you guys can have some eye interest there as we go along. My name is Cerise Fairfax, and this is my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I know that YouTube has requested a lot of videos for you to click on, and you clicked on this one. So I want to show you my deep appreciation. And guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. The thumbs up lets me know that you enjoyed this story. And hey, if I get enough thumbs up, I'll start doing story time again. All right, without any further ado, let's get into today's story. All right, guys. So now I know this woman that is one of the main characters in this story, and I know her from Pedro Clisante. I live here in Sosua in the Dominican Republic myself, and she lives in Puerto Plata. Now, she does have two children, and her and I have gotten to talking before because I met her in one of the colmados. A colmado is where you go and have a cold drink and pretty much meet the locals. And this is where she told me the story because she heard that I was writing a book called How to Win the Heart of a Dominican Woman. And then she started to see a lot of the comments online on Facebook, where a lot of the women are defending themselves, good Dominican women that I wrote about in my book. I didn't write about the women that, are young and difficult to please and do stuff like what this woman did in this story. And she wanted to thank me for writing a beautiful book about the good women. And so she said to me, Cerise, this is my story, and maybe one day you can do a book on some of the negative things that the women have done in my country. And I told her that I used to do story time on my channel and that I will do this story. So this is how it goes. Marisol lives in Puerto Plata. She's 28 years old. She has two children, very young children. One is 5 and one is 2. Two different fathers for the babies. Marisol has never attended any type of college or any type of continuing her education. She quit school in grade 9 and never went back. Now, one thing that she does say is she's smart. She speaks very good English, and she learned from the streets. Now, she started to become a working girl in Sosua on Pedro Clisante before her first child. And the reason why she became a working girl was it was an easy way for her to take care of her family. Not her children, because she didn't have children yet, but she was taking care of her grandmother. Her grandmother had diabetes, and her mother was in Spain. Her mom moved to Spain with a man that she met in Puerto Plata. And her father, she never knew. He took off to Santo Domingo many years ago. And that was all. She doesn't have any brothers or any sisters. She's an only child. Now, she has a lot of cousins, and her cousins, they're scattered around the country. Some of them have moved to America. So none of them were able to take care of the grandmother the way she could. The grandmother lived with her. Now, the grandmother needed a lot of medication all the time and food. So Marisol started to do what came easy for her. And she started to sell herself to the foreigners. Now, this is not something she wanted to do, but it is something that she started to enjoy doing. And she said to me, she said, Cerise, it's not that I enjoy being with these men, but I enjoy the money that I get and the extras. So let's get into the story about the extras. Now, this woman, she has done some deep down dirty things. She has opened up drawers in Airbnb places when the guy is intoxicated and in the middle of the wee hours. And he paid her to stay for the whole night, but she knows that he's leaving the next day, type of thing, or a couple of days later. So she just goes into the drawers and she cleans them out, cleans his clock, so to speak. And there have been a few times where there were guys that would take care of her for the week. They come on a week vacation, whether they met her online, on Bumble, or on Cupid, OK Cupid, or any of those dating sites. She's on all of them. And, she will definitely talk to a dude. And when he's like, hey, I'm going to be in town next week, or I'm going to be in town next month, or whatever, they develop a little bit of a relationship. She does not come off like she's a working girl. She comes off like she's looking for a boyfriend, but she's not. She told me, she said, Cerise, I'm not looking for any of those guys on the dating sites. I'm looking for many guys, and I'm getting to know them like a girlfriend. She calls it the girlfriend experience. And she said she learned that terminology from an American dude. So these guys will come and they'll even pay for her babysitter for the week. She'll put her kids up. Now, her grandmother has passed on now. So her grandmother doesn't take care of the children. She gets someone like, a friend or whatever, and the kids stay at her friend's house for the week, and she pays them to take care of the kids, to make sure, they look good and they're fed. Not only that, the guys also buy the kids clothes when they come down here, because she's like, you know what, my kids may need a few things. He'll buy them shoes, he'll buy them outfits, she tells them their size, he'll video call her on WhatsApp. He'll go to the department stores and she'll pick out stuff over the video call. And he comes down with like a whole entire suitcase for her and her kids. And not one man, many men do this. And if you are listening to this and you've done this, then you know how it goes. And this is a game. It's a game, and she's not the only one that plays it. Some guys are aware that they're being played, but some guys aren't. Many guys go on the dating site before they come here to Sosua because they don't want to go on the streets and find a woman on the streets. They don't want to sit in the bars. A lot of the guys are coming alone. Some of them don't even drink. So they go on the dating site before they come, and they think they're going to meet a really nice young lady. But their perception and their choices generally lead them down the same road that Pedro Clasante would lead them. So there is a way of picking the right woman, and I'll get into that later on in the story because she gave me some tips to give to you guys. So now, not only has she robbed guys in the Airbnbs, she takes off. So she'll spend like a whole week with them. During that week, he starts to trust her because he was already talking to her on the dating site like a couple of weeks before he came, sometimes a couple of months before he comes, because, he wants to build up a relationship. So he falls in love with her very quickly when he meets her in person because she smells good. She takes great care of herself. Many Dominican women do. In my book, How to Win the Heart of a Dominican Woman, there is a chapter about that alone. And the chapter speaks about it, how it is part of their culture. It's not just because they want to look good. It's because when they fix themselves up, they feel good. So this is what happened. She will do this with these guys. They'll talk to her a few months before. Now, this is also what will happen. Let me back up just a little bit. Rewind selector. What she will do is she will get these guys off the dating site. She will continue on the dating site under a different name, a different account, different hairstyle. She looks completely different, and she knows what to do on these dating sites, on these dating apps. She'll know sometimes to dress scantily clad. Sometimes she'll dress like a schoolgirl. Sometimes she'll dress, and I don't mean a young schoolgirl, but a teenage schoolgirl, like, well, a college girl, so to speak. And then sometimes she'll dress like a church girl. She has all these different accounts and she does different things on them. So she is putting herself out there and marketing to all these different men. Now, what she will do is tell these guys, please go off the dating app because I love you and I want to be with you when you come. It makes me feel insecure that you're coming to Sosua and you may find other women. And boom, they will do it. They'll get off the dating app. And they don't even believe that she's still on it because they believe that she's talking to him and him only. So that's something else you need to be careful of. So anyway, this one dude, he comes to Sosua and she didn't meet this guy on the dating site. She met this guy on the streets. Now, this guy is a regular to Sosua, and he even got taken by her. And this is what happened. So here she is. He's on a motorcycle, right? Sorry, just drinking some Santo Domingo coffee. So he's on a motorcycle. Well, actually, a pasola. That's what we call them here, pasola. It is a scooter. And you kind of put your feet up. It's not like a motorcycle, but it has handlebars like a motorcycle. It's more like a scooter, right? A Vespa, if you will. So he's on his Vespa and he looks at her and, they kind of look at each other and he pulls over. He calls her over to him and he's like, what's up? Like, you're a working girl? Like, what do you do? And she's like, yeah. At this moment, she was on the streets and it was evening time. And he was looking for someone to take home. He was looking to chill out with her. And he's like, all right. He's like, well, why don't we go back to my place? How much you charging? Blah, blah, blah. And she was like, well, she was giving him a line and everything. And she's like, why don't you take my phone number first? Because I have to meet with my girls and then I'll head out and I'll meet you. And he's like, all right. So she was telling him this. Now, guys, you got to be very careful. She told him this because she wanted to see where he reached in to get his phone. Why? Because usually where a man will leave his phone is also where he leaves his money. So he did. He reached into his little fanny pack that he had. And when he reached in his fanny pack, she was like, oh, she kind of saw that he had money. And she was like, wow, okay. So she knew now. So then she said to him, you know what, though? It's okay. I'm just going to tell my girlfriends that I'll meet them after and I'll get on the bike with you. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's be spontaneous. So she gets on the back of the bike and he starts riding and everything. She reaches in front. She starts playing with his chest because his fanny pack was across his chest, right? She starts playing with his chest and rubbing his chest and everything. And he's like, I like you. She's like, yeah. She unzips his fanny pack, takes out his money, and he is in his own world, not even realizing that she's rubbing him and she's unzipping his bag. She took out his everything, his money, his passport, his phone, zipped up the bag again. And then she said to him, oh no, can you stop right here? I want to get something. And he's like, all right. She's like, I want to buy a bottle of wine. He said, all right. She stopped at the Sosua liquor store. She did all of this so quickly. Okay. He didn't even know what she was doing. So he's on his bike. And as soon as she jumped off the bike, he immediately went into his fanny pack to grab his phone, I guess, or something. Because, he's going to wait for her. He's going to go on his phone. He starts digging around for his phone. He can't find it. And boom, she's gone. She disappeared down the busy street. And that was it. She told me, she's like, Cerise, that man's passport, inside the passport were a few $1,000 bills. In the fanny pack itself were pesos. And so she said what she did was, in his cell phone, she took his cell phone too. She went and she got all his cell phone reset and cleared. And not only that, She got her friend to sell his passport back to him. Yeah. So what she did was she went up to her friend and she's like, here, take this passport. You're going to find the guy down the street on the corner. He's riding a Vespa. This is the exact same night within like 15 minutes because he was sitting out there probably waiting to see her again. He's not just going to take off and go to his hotel room or his Airbnb, right? And he's a regular. He's been here in town a lot. So, she went and she was like, take this to him. He's over by the corner. He's waiting by Sosua Liquors. Go and sell it back to him. Tell him that you saw it thrown on the ground and sell it back to him. And the girl went and did it. Now, this is the thing. Some of these guys that come here, some of you guys, you always have like some money dashed and stashed away in your sock, maybe in a hat or something. You guys always have an extra couple of bucks somewhere stashed. Well, this guy didn't have it stashed. He had all his money inside of his fanny pack. So when the girl went back and said, do you want to buy your passport back? He said, well, no, because he didn't know where the money was. And he's like, where did you get this passport? And she said it was on the ground around the corner. And he believed her. So he told her, well, you know what? Just hold on. And he said he had to go to his hotel room to get more money. But he returned with the police officer and he went straight to the cop shop and he told the cops that, someone was trying to sell his passport back to him. And the police went with him and the police asked the girl, where did you get this? And the girl said she found it on the ground. They said, well, how did you know to come here to get him? And she said she knows him. She sees him around town all the time. And, and they're like, well, why would you sell his own passport to him? And she's like, for a couple of bucks, like, this is important. I thought he would appreciate it and just kind of give me money anyway to say thank you. And the police believed her. And the police looked at him and said, well, you should give her a couple of bucks for being nice, and, and he said, are you crazy? She's crooked. They're all in on it together. Right. And then that was it. And that's one story that Marisol told me. But here's another one. So she was on a bike, on a motorcycle, again, on the street. And this is another pickpocket story. This one is literally a pickpocket story. So here she is. She's on the bike, on a motorcycle with a dude. This guy came from Canada and he's from Montreal. And she never ever saw him before, never met him before. And he was new in town. And he didn't even know really how to pick up a woman. He just was at a bar, first of all. And he was like looking at her. And she walked over to him. She's like, hi, you want to party? And he's like, yeah, okay. Well, how much? And she told him, and she was going to go back to the hotel with him. So she gets on his bike with him and she put her hand like down in his private part. And she's rubbing him, and he's like, wow. And she's like leaning, she's on the back of the bike, but she's leaning into his back and rubbing him down below. And of course he doesn't mind and he's rolling with it and everything. She took her other hand and she slipped it into his pocket. She told me that pocket had no money. So she started to rub him with her other hand and slipped her other hand into his right pocket. And bingo, there were the dollars. She said she could feel the money clip. So she just started to rub him. And as she was rubbing him, she started to rub like her fingers towards the right hand pocket and pushing the money up out of the pocket as she was pulling the money out with the other hand. You get what I'm saying? So she was doing like a 2-hand trick here. And she said it was so easy. And she told me, she's like, Cerise, I want to be one of those good women in your book. I want to be one of those good women that you talk about that, take good care of themselves, that have great jobs, that treat men like kings. She's like, but I'm young. I just want to have fun right now. I just want to make fast money. And I don't mind that I have to have relationships with men for a couple of hours to get that money. She's like, most of the time, these men, They're drunk. They just want company. She's like, at other times, when I get to their hotel room, they're foolish. At first, they are careful, but then they're so foolish. They have a couple of drinks, they have a couple of smokes, they're chilling, they're in another country, they're feeling great, they're with a beautiful woman, and they forget their head. And she's like, I just take full advantage of them. So, this is what she told me to tell you guys. When you are on the dating site with a woman, don't think that they are on the site for a boyfriend. They know that you live in another country most times. So they know that you are looking for something when you come here, someone to keep you company. And if they're on dating sites and they're that young and they speak very good English, chances are they are already working girls. So she said, when you get on those sites, just assume that they are already working girls. She told me to tell you guys that a lot of you are looking for long-term relationships, but you don't realize that these girls live here. This is their lifestyle, and they don't know what you're up to. A lot of the girls, they want you to live here for them to be in a serious relationship with you. A lot of these girls on the sites, they're looking for a man that will take care of them full time. So when they meet you on the site and they know you're coming for just a week, they know what you're up to. Now, there are a lot of good guys on the sites. I went on the dating site myself on Bumble a few weeks ago. I went off of it, but there are a lot of good guys on that site. And many of them, they were saying to me, they're looking for someone that they can settle down with. Many of them are planning their retirement here. They're not retired yet, but many of them come here 3 times, 4 times a year. And they're looking for someone to share their life with. And that's beautiful. But many of these young girls are not looking to have a long distance relationship, especially if they're girls that are looking for a man to take care of them. It's easier for them to live with a man here, him pay all the bills, like he pays all the rent, or he buys himself his own place, and all she does is just cook and clean and, be treated like a princess or a queen. And that's that. So she also told me to tell you guys, don't put your money in obvious places. If you're on a bike, especially on a bike, or if, a woman is rubbing you on your chest and you have a fanny pack on, just like in the story, if you keep your money in your pants, always expect that a woman is going to rub you and take your money. 100%, you will be pickpocketed. And she says, even if your money is in your front pocket, because if you are a guy that's out on the streets looking for some rub-a-dub, then chances are she's going to rub and she's going to rob. So another thing that you need to really look out for as well, she said, is put your money in like a cell phone case, and put your cell phone. She said there is something that you can get, like a string for your cell phone. And she told me exactly where you can buy it on Temu. I went on Temu and I looked, and there is something. It clasps onto your cell phone, and you can put it around your neck. You can also put it in your pocket, and she said, if you put it in your pocket, wrap it around your belt, because you can't even see. She's like, anyone wants to take your cell phone, boom, it's going to get yanked onto the belt. And she says that's the only way someone's not going to take your cell phone out of your pocket. What else? She says that when you go with a woman to your Airbnb, make sure that if you are taking her into a front gate, like, a gated community or a building, always tell the security guard that she cannot enter without you, because there are times where she has went back to the building, right? She says that she's gone to different buildings where people have Airbnbs, and the security guard knows her very well. And she said one time she was on the beach with a guy that she was staying with. She was staying with him for the whole entire week. She was 3 days in, and she already knew his security code, the code for his for his box, for his safety security box. So she said to him as they were on the beach, she said that she needed to go. She didn't feel well, but she'll be right back. And he said, okay, no problem. She went back to the building. The security guard let her in. She went into the front door. She went into the security box. She took out the money and left the apartment and went back to the beach. And that was it. And then when they went back to the apartment, the money wasn't there. And he's like, where's the money? And his passport was there. His watch was there. All his, like, everything that was important to him, just the money was gone. And he's like, where's the money? And she's like, I don't know. I was with you the whole day. And he forgot that she escaped for that quick amount of time. And so he went and he reported it downstairs. And even the security guard didn't even put two and two together. The security guard was changed by the evening time when they went back. That security guard was off duty and a new one was on duty. So there was no way anyone could tell on her. No one put two and two together. So she said, make sure that you tell the security guard, never let anyone else in this apartment without me when I'm not here. And not only that, always give the security guard your WhatsApp so the security guard can message you if anything is going on that's strange. Or you can always message the security guard if your girl disappears for a moment. You can just message the security guard and say, hey, did the Chica go into my apartment? If you're insecure. So those are some tips that she said. She also said that make sure when you're here, not only your money, not only your passport, your watches, everything that is safe, find a different spot for it as opposed to the security box. She said, of course, you can put your passport in there. Nobody can really use it, but find a different place for your money. Now, there are a lot of different places where you can put your money. There are places where she says people would never ever check. So for instance, if there's a bookshelf, put the money inside a book inside the bookshelf. If there's books, if there's a picture on the wall, like very often there's hanging art on the wall. What you can do is tape the money on the back of one of those photos on the wall, right? The hanging art. Also, she said, even the TV, you can put it at the back of the TV. She said, even if it's something like the modem, tape it to the bottom of the modem and make sure that the modem is at the back of the TV. She said, these are places where people aren't going to look. She also said, put it in a dirty sock at the bottom of your laundry basket. And just a dirty sock. She said the sock doesn't even have to be worn, just a dirty sock. Like it just looks like it was on concrete or something. She said even put like some pickle juice on it. Make sure that it smells like vinegar or something, just something that makes it stink and something crusty. She said just put the money there. No one's going to open that up. She also said you can put the money inside of a toilet paper roll. She said what you do is you just tape it inside of the toilet paper roll that's not being used, and you just put it at the back of the cupboard. She said you can even put money in like your sheets that are all folded up inside the closet, because if this girl is staying with you and she's not cleaning your place and she's just with you for the night, she's not going to go in your cupboard and go through your sheets. She's not going to go in your dirty laundry. Now, if she is staying with you for the week, chances are she is going to do your laundry. So you have to use your common sense of where you're going to hide your money. She even said that if there's a plant there, you can just wrap your money up in a plastic bag and stick it all the way in the soil of the plant, especially if the plant is on the balcony. So she has all these different pointers, and she just said, make sure you don't look at the safety security box like it is a secure place to put your belongings. And I have to agree with her. I help people find apartments here, long term, short term. And one question that most people will ask me, is there a safety security box? And I sometimes think that's a false sense of security. It really is. Those things can be just picked up and taken out and, busted into. Like a lot of people don't realize it's not a safe in the wall, it's literally a box that you can pick up and carry it out. Now, I'm not saying don't use them. I'm just saying more use your common sense. So, guys, this was story time, and Marisol told me that she's still hanging out on the streets. She's still doing her thing, but one day she wants to be in my book as one of the good women. Guys, the link to my book, How to Win the Heart of a Dominican Woman, is in the description. You can also check it out on my on my website, www.sosuabeachrealestate.com. And then I can email it to you because it is an ebook and I can get it to you the same day you order it. So also email me at cerisefairfax@gmail.com. All the information is in the description. And in that book, I do have 30 stories of the good Dominican women. Guys, I know a lot of you love Dominican women, and I understand completely. They are wonderful. They truly are. But getting the right woman sometimes is a little bit of a chore. I think that's just all around the world. So in that book, I also offered little tips on how to do it. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, if you would like a personal consultation on relocating here to the Dominican Republic, or if you would like an apartment or any information, just give me a shout. Remember, not all the women are pickpockets. Most of them are awesome. Take care of yourself. Huge hugs, loads of love, and big blessings.